Hello, everybody. We are live on the campus of Weslaco KWES for it's the first day of full pads, not only right here at Weslaco KWES, throughout the state of Texas and the Rio Grande Valley. So important to the running game for the Weslaco KWES Wildcats. This is a team that ran for more than 3,000 yards. So when they put on those pads, they are ready to hit. They're ready to work on some blocking drills. And everybody on this team knows how to block. I'm talking the offensive line, of course, those wide receivers, those running backs, and even the quarterback. Richard Lefevre knows how to block a little bit as well. We'll talk to him a little bit later on during this show. We're going to be here for the next 30 minutes talking a little bit about Weslaco KWES football. We'll be talking about two-a-days and everything that's going on. Why is this team predicted to do so well? Mike Gonzalez, are you excited? Are you ready for the first day of full pads?
I am, Carlos. We were out there a little bit earlier. They were going after it. We heard some crunches. We heard coaches yelling. It's time. Let's go.
It is a little warm out here. We do have a cloud that just came over us right now, so it is a little bit warm out here. Mike has his water bottle down here underneath the desk. He's got his shades on, and I got my two-a-day cap right here just in case it gets a little bit too warm here for us. So it is warm out here. We got some rain yesterday, downpour right here in Weslaco. I think across the whole Rio Grande Valley. It came down hard, so it's a little bit steamy out here for this boys. A little bit of a breeze, not much at all. Probably about 95, maybe even 100 degrees before it's all said and done. We'll be here for the next 30 minutes, and we'd like to thank one of our new sponsors. Miriam Guerra Allstate Insurance is one of our sponsors here, one of our corporate sponsors, and she's going to be the pregame and the postgame show sponsor for KWES throughout the entire school year, not just for football, but also for baseball, basketball, softball, and any other sports that we have. So we really like to thank Miriam Guerra Allstate Insurance as our pregame, postgame show sponsor, and she's also our two-a-day sponsor. That's why we're recognizing her right now. We are live on Facebook, so tell your friends, tell your family all about what is going on right here at KWES. Mike, are you ready to get this show started?
Let's go, Carlos.
All right, let's do it. Right now, let's take a live look right now at what is going on at practice. We got another camera situated down on the field right now, and you can see that it looks like that is the offensive line working right there, right around the at the 10, 20-yard line, going to do a few plays. They will have their pads on. You can see their full pads, Mike. None of this half shell, not just the upper body, but the lower body as well. So important for that offensive line as they run a few drills right here. And you can see that offensive line is going to be, again, one of these teams that is going to be critical to the team. This is actually the defense that they're working on. That is an offense working against the number one defense that we see right there. So let's take a look at a play, a little bit of movement right there. But it's really on the defensive side of the ball that the Wildcats are working at. We'll check back in a little bit later about what is going on with the Wildcats, a live look in. So we got a camera down on the field. So we'll do that a few more times during the next 30 minutes or so. Let's take a look at why Weslaco KWES is predicted to do so well. Mike, they're expected to be one of the top teams, not only in 32-6A, but maybe in the Rio Grande Valley. Right. We got rgvsports.com, we got 956sports.com, we got other media around the Rio Grande Valley, and they're going to say that Weslaco KWES is going to be one of those top teams, and it is because they have a lot of talent coming back from last year.
Absolutely, Carlos. Rightfully so. The Wildcats have earned that recognition of being one of the premier programs across the valley. They have 5 starters back on offense, 8 on defense. Let's talk a little bit about the offense here real quick. Roy Pedraza, the featured back, rushed for almost 2,000 yards last year and 20 touchdowns. Really took over around the middle of the season and really just carried the offense up, did a heck of a job and into the playoffs. And then you have J.C. Vargas, who's the team's utility player who can play receiver, can play quarterback. He's used as a back. He plays a little bit of defense too. And then you have Richard Lefevre, who is now a 3-year starter in this offense, so he knows the playbook, the palm of his hands, and knows him and Coach Burgett have that excellent communication when it comes to calling the plays. Those are 3 guys, the triple threat of the offense, and then you have an offensive line anchored by.
I like that, the triple threat.
Right. And then you have an offensive line anchored by Orly Cabrera, who stands at 6'1", 265, a senior tackle, a big boy that Coach Burgett is really high on. In addition to, let's talk about defense now. You have starting
before you go into that offense, before we go to the defense, let's talk a little bit more about that offense because JC is going to be playing both sides of the football.
Yes.
And then Roy last year, he was a player that he was used quite a lot, often on offense and on defense.
Yes.
And there you get that's JC right there. You see him. They'll
There he
play him a
is.
little bit at quarterback as well. Roy came in a little bit last year. He was kind of the number one guy, maybe not. They were sharing time with JC.
Right.
They were trying to find, and then he just kind of took off after that. Ended up, like you said, with those 1,900 yards and 20 touchdowns.
Right. If you remember, Fabian Castro was actually supposed to be the feature back in his offense, but then he sustained an injury. And as you mentioned, JC Vargas got some carries. They got Freddy Gonzalez that got some carries, and then they found Roy Pedraza was their man at the time. I believe he was playing linebacker and did an excellent job. One of the things I asked Coach Burgett was, will Roy still play on defense? He goes, yeah, we intend to.
Sure.
Maybe not as much, but I mean, when you have a talent like him, I mean, it's great to have somebody like him on defense to help you anywhere to win a football game.
So speaking of the defense, take me through the defense. Who are some of those key players?
The key players, Carlos, the front four are all back. No, Coach Guzman in our preview on Monday was really, really high on them. Start off with Fernando Garza. He's one of the defensive ends. He was the leading tackler on that line with 95 last year. Then you have Robert Torres, who's one of their defensive tackles, who stands at 5'11", 235. Then you have Jacob Banda, the other tackle, who stands at 6'2", 265 and can run a 4.9, so that's great. And then you have Gerald Garza, Carlos, who last year missed a good chunk of the season due to injury, but now is 100% healthy and is ready to contribute. He had like 35, 36 tackles in 7 games, so that shows when he's healthy, he can make a big-time difference.
Awesome.
And as we mentioned, JC Vargas contributes on defense. He had 5 interceptions to lead the secondary, and then their top tackler, Freddy Cardenas, is also back with 114 tackles last year. So that unit is ready to go, Carlos.
Excited, especially with Gerald Garza, because Gerald Garza will be coming back. Like I said, didn't play much. He had a great non-district, I want to say it was non-district. He was a couple of great scrimmages, then he was hurt, and we're going to talk to him later on in the show as well. So because of all those returners that are coming back, the predictions are out. Dave Campbell Magazine comes up with their predictions during the middle of summer, and these are coaches that make these predictions. And right now it looks like they have San Benito that is looking as the number one team in 32-6A. They have them there. You can see it 1 through 8. San Benito, Weslaco East, Harlingen, Los Fresnos, Harlingen South. Weslaco Panthers at number 6. We'll talk more about them next week. Hanna at number 7, and then we have Rivera. Let's kind of take it. Let's talk about the top 4 teams anyway, because San Benito, they have 5 returners coming back on offense, 5 on defense. Eric Reda at quarterback. You've seen this guy. He could have been offensive MVP if it wasn't for Roy Pedraza. And then they also have Tyrone Henderson, who will be coming back. Harper, I should say, who will be coming back also at running back. That's a pretty deadly combination right there for San Benito.
It is, Carlos, and I mean, rightfully so. They've earned that spot to be the favorite in this district. And if you ask me, my personal opinion, I like where they have the Weslaco East Wildcats, because that only adds fuel to the fire if you ask the Wildcats. And knowing Coach Burgett like we do, and the way everybody else does, and the coaching staff, and even the players, you know what I mean? That's
no respect.
No respect. That's okay. That's just that little add fuel for fire, because sometimes when you have that number one target in your back, it can come back to backfire a little bit.
Absolutely.
But the Greyhounds had a great season last year, and then they have their skilled players back.
Yeah, Weslaco East will be there at number 2. Those are the predictions. They're going to battle. They're going to battle with Weslaco East and San Benito. And then Harlingen is right there with 6 returners on offense. No Leo Tienda this year, but Harlingen does have some players coming back. They're going to have to find a new quarterback. Remember last year they beat San Benito by a couple of points. They beat them by 2 points to win that game. So Harlingen was the only team to beat San Benito in district. So you can't discount the Harlingen Cardinals.
Absolutely, Carlos. I mean, even if the Cardinals, if many people feel like this is an off year for them would still be a playoff team. This team, no matter what, will always be in the playoff picture, regardless. That program is just solidified for many, many, many years. They lost 39 lettermen to graduation, with Leo Tienda being the key. So as you mentioned, they got to replace him at quarterback and other positions. But they only have 3 returners on defense. So those guys are going to need to find some boys out there to replace on defense. So let's see what happens this year with the Harlingen Cardinals.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Los Fresnos out, because Los Fresnos, they're a team that went 3 deep into the playoffs last year, and so they're going to be a team to contend with as well. Real quick, Mike, Los Fresnos, we've got to move on to the next segment.
Sure. Just real quickly, Coach Brown was in his first year year. Last year, as you mentioned, went 3 deep, but they lost 30 to graduation. But they have only 2 back on offense and 4 on defense. So a lot of holes there. Let's see what happens.
All right, so before we move on to this year, we want to look back a little bit on last year. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from Weslaco KWES in the 2016 season.
One of the most exciting games of 2016 was on September 2nd, Weslaco East at McAllen Memorial. Big play after big play and lots of drama. Wildcats down 13-7 at the half. Opening kickoff of the third, Roy Pedraza fumbles the kick, trips, and almost falls. But watch what happens.
10, 15, 20. He's got one guy to beat, 25, 30.
From a big disaster to a great play, Pedraza scampers down the sideline for 104 yards, but is knocked down. East in great shape to score. But no, instead it's a fumble.
That is recovered by the Mustangs, and that looks like the Mustangs have it, and he is on his way.
Touchdown the other way. Down 2 TDs, quarterback Richard Lefevre goes deep to J.C. Vargas, and he rumbles 94 yards for a touchdown. Late in the fourth, Pedraza on the toss powers his way into the end zone. We are tied at 29. Few ticks on the clock. Mustangs going for a field goal to win the game, and is no good. We go into overtime. East with possession first. Lefevre puts the Wildcats up. Quarterback sneak, end zone. Wildcats up 8 after a 2-point conversion. McAllen Memorial now, 4th down. East defense makes the stop. Wildcats with a dramatic win. Then, in the middle of district, school history was made when Citlali Hernandez became the first female to play a varsity game.
It's up, and it looks good. And it is.
The soccer player boots 8 extra points. That night marked the beginning of a 5-game winning streak, including the playoffs. By district game, Weslaco East at heavily favorite Edinburgh Vela. Orlando Chucky Fuentes sends East faithful into a frenzy. After nailing a game-winning 39-yard field goal for a 31-28 upset win over the SaberCats. Area round, Wildcats now with a playoff rematch versus Del Rio. The game was close until Lefevre connects with J.C. Vargas for the 76-yard touchdown catch. East takes the lead 17-13. Then, Pedraza extends the lead with his 69-yard touchdown run. Unbelievable play, and the Wildcats do get their revenge to cap a fine year.
All right, and one of the stars of that highlight reel is with us right now, Richard Lefevre. He is here, the quarterback, 3-year starter for the Wildcats. Richard, first day of pads. I'm glad you're on here on the show with us. You can take a little bit of a break. Tell me a little about that pass that you made to JC, that one that scored a touchdown and really helped you guys against Del Rio.
Well, first of all, I couldn't have thrown that pass unless I didn't have the whole line blocking for me as good as they did that game. I mean, they did a heck of a job. And then you had all the other receivers running their routes. If they didn't run the routes right, the defense wouldn't have bid on the all the other routes and leave JC open. I saw JC and he was wide open. So,
Richard, Coach Burgett, and talking to Coach Burgett earlier in the week, he says that he wants you to be more vocal. He wants you to take that leadership role as a 3-year starter. You know, tell us a little bit about that. What did he say to you?
He told me to have a lot more confidence. He told me keep your head up, because he said I'm the quarterback and the quarterback's a natural leader. So he said we'll be more vocal, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, to keep their heads up, because players do get their heads down because they make mistakes and they get yelled at. And so just go get on the side, talk to them, try to get motivation going, try to pump them up, get ready for practice and the games.
All right, well, we're going to talk a little bit more about Richard, but first, he was working out over the summer, so we were out there with the cameras, and here's what we found out about Richard Lefevre.
An important part of Weslaco East offense is Richard Lefevre. Don't expect his numbers to be eye-popping by year's end.
Lefevre, Richard.
But he enters
Lefevre
his
still
third
going.
year
Picks up
as
the
a
first
starter,
down, crosses
including
the
5
20-yard
playoff
line,
games.
and a good 5-6 yard pickup.
More
This time,
importantly,
Lefevre's
his
looking
6'4",
left, nowhere to go. He
260-pound
scrambles,
frame
runs out
under
to his
center
right, and he
is
cuts
something
upfield
lethal he
across the
brings to the offense.
35 to about the 38.
A dual threat. Not only can he throw the ball, but he runs the ball. Tough to bring down.
The benefit
Hurry
comes
up offense,
especially
Lefevre
when it's
keeps it
short
off the
yardage
right
or
side.
goal
He's
line
in the end zone
situation.
for the second time tonight.
And even though the Wildcats throw less than most
Down the
teams,
middle.
he was still
Loomis
able
with
to
the
toss
catch.
for over 600 yards.
25-yard
I feel a lot better. I feel a lot more confident this year as quarterback.
In the offseason, the senior improved his mechanics and worked on his speed.
So go.
Weslaco East even participated in 7-on-7 competition to help with timing. Richard did well in the league, which has Burgett considering giving the passing game a try once again.
I think Richard has proven in the offseason he's ready to throw the ball every play.
All right, back here with Richard Lefevre. And Richard, I know you guys did a little bit of 7-on-7. Did that make you a little bit more comfortable passing the ball when you guys do pass the ball?
Yes, sir, it did. He only, in the past, I heard that he never really does 7-on-7, and this is like kind of the first year he kind of got lenient on it, and I'm kind of happy about it. We all were, but I mean, if we're gonna run the ball, we're gonna run the ball. But we feel a lot more comfortable now throwing the ball because we know what we could do and because we've seen it out there and what moves the players can make and all the weapons we have.
Richard, we're going to let you go. I know it's a bad time because they're running sprints, but we'll let you go out there. Thank you very much, Richard Lefevre,
All right,
starting
Richard, good luck.
quarterback for the
Have a good
Weslaco
one.
East Wildcats. We'll go ahead and let them go out there and finish up practice. We're going to bring in a few more interviews as well. We have a lot more in store for you, but right now we're going to go ahead and take a break. You are watching KWES TV live right here on Facebook. Before Clarissa Renteria was a dentist, she was a student at Weslaco ISD. She was a cheerleader, played softball, and started college early through the dual enrollment program. She graduated from UTPA before earning her degree from the University of Texas School of Dentistry in Houston. Now she is Dr. Renteria, creating beautiful smiles at Professional Dental Group. Weslaco ISD is home to some of the most prestigious graduates in the Rio Grande Valley. For Dr. Clarissa Renteria, WISD was the right choice. All right, practice is still going on here at Weslaco East. Carlos Roberto along with Mike Gonzalez, live 2-a-day coverage of the Weslaco East Wildcats. Let's talk a little bit about 32-6A. Is it still the meat grinder like it was last year? You bet it is. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the Weslaco East has in store for them because, Mike, they're going to have to take on some pretty tough teams when you take a look at San Benito, Harlingen, even Los Fresnos is pretty good. Talk to me a little bit about that. Is 32-6A still the top team?
I would say by far it still is, Carlos. I mean, if you had to think back even to last year, by district round, when 31-6A went up against 32-6A, it was a clean sweep. 4-0. All four 32-6A teams beat 31-6A. And then we had two of those teams, San Benito and Weslaco East, that advanced to the third round. And I mean, you know, so they've earned that respect to be the premier district across the valley. And we expect 2017 to be the same thing. I mean, we're going to find out in non-district competition exactly where we're going to stand. But I mean, I feel like this is still the best district in the valley by far.
Yeah, and absolutely. There are some teams to look out for on the other side, especially McCallum Memorial. They're going to have Campbell Spates coming back once again for his sophomore season, and they also have a transfer that came in. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name at this point right now, but I think it's Nawachaku. Look out for him because he transferred over from a school from Beaumont. He plays more on the defensive side of the ball, plays strong safety, but he runs a 4.5 40. He is someone that also can play running back. Also look out for Mission. They got Coy Detmer now, who is their head coach, and Lupe Rodriguez, who is also a famous Mission quarterback. He is now at PSJA. So those are some of the teams to look out for and some of the storylines to look out for throughout the season. All right, let's move along now to the turf because Bobby Lackey Stadium and the school board approved a new turf for Weslaco ISD, for all the teams, for the soccer teams and for the football teams that are out there. And Weslaco East had a chance to practice on that turf yesterday. Let's take a look at that.
Elbows in, Jesus. Yeah, he's holding. Let's go.
The field is soft. You could tell the difference. Our kids like to cut on it. They like playing on it right now.
Ready, set.
Last year it was a few bumps and here and there, and it was harder, but now it's softer and it feels a lot better. It feels a lot more comfortable moving around on it.
The turf feels pretty good. It's it's way better than last year. Last year you'll go down, freaking end up with scratches on your elbows, and it's good.
Move, move, move.
every turf is different, even though it's the same company. You know, the layers they put on, this one's a little softer than ours.
Ready? Let's go.
We play 6 games here this year, 6 out of the 10. So, you know, we want our kids to feel comfortable on their home field.
We're excited because we came out, new turf, and it's a new season coming up, and it's ready to go.
You know, I want to thank Dr. Canales, Oscar Rojas, and the board members. They did a great job of picking this turf. We love it.
All right, with us now are 2 members of that triple threat, the triplets. Are they calling you guys the triplets yet? That's Roy Pedraza over there, JC Vargas also on hand right here to talk a little bit about Weslaco and what's going on. But before we talk to them, we want to see what they were doing during the summer. Let's take a look at that story.
Expect the focal point of the Weslaco East offense to be senior running back Roy Pedraza. He comes off a season where he rushed for 1,800 yards and 19 touchdowns. It was the last 6 games of the season, including playoffs, the Wildcats found out what kind of weapon he was. Pedraza averaged 193 yards per game and scored 11 touchdowns. In the 3 playoff games, Roy had over 30 carries.
His confidence is high right now. His speed, he's got a little bit quicker. He works harder than any kid I've ever coached.
In 2017, Roy is bigger, stronger, and more powerful. Already great, the senior still strives to improve his game in the offseason.
I worked on my speed a lot because that's an area I'm weak in, and just working on my strength more, just so it'll be harder for tacklers to bring me down.
If Pedraza is the playmaker, then JC Vargas would be your X factor.
94 yards.
Vargas is the Wildcats' most versatile player who makes an impact in all 3 phases.
JC can play anywhere on the football field. I really believe he can snap the ball. I mean, he's just a heck of an athlete, one of the best I've had at Weslaco East.
JC ended 2016 as Weslaco East's top receiver with over 300 yards and rushed for over 100 yards in the area round. The senior's speed and quickness, in addition to Roy's power, is a beautiful formula that will be a force in District 32-6A.
And try to spread it out a little bit more. And we're just going to go do our thing and just try to out-hit people.
All right, and with us now is Roy Pedraza, 198-pound state powerlifting champion. And then we also have JC Vargas with us now. We got you guys away from running the sprints out there. Are y'all still going to have to go run after the segment, or are you guys done?
We're probably going to have to run after this.
We'll run them with you, no big deal.
All right, guys, just first of all, put it on the pads today. How did it feel to put the pads on? You go first, Roy.
I felt pretty great. We're back in action, and it always feels great to put on pads again and be in football mode.
JC, how did it feel?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. We put them on, and we had a couple headaches, but I think we're ready. Or we're
going to be okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
You know, you guys have a lot of expectations this year. I mean, you guys on paper look so good, and then you have the coaching staff that you guys have, starting with Coach Burgett as your head coach. I mean, so with that being said, how are you guys handling those high expectations?
Well, we have to ignore them. You know, on paper we're a good team, but we have to go out and show out and play Wildcat football.
What about you, JC?
On paper, like, we have all these stats and everything, but the season hasn't even started right now. We're 0-0, and we'll see the first game.
These guys, Roy, did you come up to the varsity your freshman year, or they waited until your sophomore year?
Yes, sir.
You were on your freshman year. I know JC was a 4-year starter, and JC on the second game, was it the second game of the season to get San Benito?
Yes, sir.
Picked up a loose ball. He says it was an interception. It was more like a fumble, ran it all the way back for a touchdown. After that, did you feel comfortable being on varsity, JC?
Yes, sir.
Your freshman year?
It felt good. I was running for my life, and yeah, it felt good.
And now being on the team, both of you guys, now being here 3 years, how does it feel here entering your 3rd year now? You guys got to feel real comfortable being leaders out there on the team and knowing the plays and just everything that goes with football.
Yeah, well, now we know what to expect, and it's like nothing really new, just the competition that we're playing, and hopefully we can
live
improve.
Live up to the expectations.
And you know what I like about it too, Carlos, is that not only do they have the experience and not only do they have the coaching staff, but they've had success in the playoffs. And I mean, that only helps them out that much more, and why I really like their chances in this district and to really make noise even in the playoffs again this year. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes, sir. It's like if playoff comes and we turn up the switch.
Okay, we're gonna let you go, but Roy, before you leave, I want to know how much muscle. I know you put on some weight, and it's all muscle. So how much did you put? How much did you go? Was it about 10, 15 pounds? Because you look a lot bigger.
Well, I think last year when the season began, I was like 178, and the start of 2 days, I ended up at 206.
Yeah.
So.
And you competed at 198, so you're right up there. And if you ever see this guy without a shirt on, just run the other way. You don't want to get in a fight with this guy. He's big. You don't want to try to tackle him at all. And he's going to be, he's going to be someone to look out for. He was the offensive MVP last year. JC, you were right there as well. Both these two guys are going to be key to Weslaco. So good luck, guys. We'll let you guys go now.
Thank you, sir. Good luck, guys. Thanks for joining us.
All right, good luck. All right, let's take a look at the East schedule now for Weslaco. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it, JC. Good luck on the season. We'll be seeing them throughout the entire season, throughout the entire year. September 1st, it all begins against Sherryland, then they go against McAllen Memorial. Those are two teams that are going to be right up there in the top 10. As always, Sherryland has plenty of experience coming back, and they're always a top team in the Rio Grande Valley. Memorial, we already talked about them. They're probably going to be one of the top teams over there in 31-5-6A. Economides, they're a playoff team from a year ago. Oh, did they make the playoffs last year? I'm not sure.
They did, Carlos. Yes.
They were a playoff team from last year. Take a break, and then, of course, there's the Tinaco Bowl, and then, of course, we have that schedule there, the district schedule, which is going to be very, very difficult. So, Mike, once again, it's a tough non-district schedule, and it gets a little bit easier there maybe towards the end. Rivera, Harlingen South, and Hanna. Remember, last year in the middle of district, they started off with 3 straight losses.
They did, Carlos, and I mean, if you remember last year, Coach Burgett, when they had that tough loss against, I believe it was Harlingen, he went and said, it's on, or it's time. It's time. They made T-shirts out of it and everything. They went 2-1 in non-district last year with big-time wins over Sherryland and an awesome game against McAllen Memorial in overtime that we just saw the highlight reel. And expect that again this year. I mean, this is why Coach Burgett make this kind of schedule to prepare this team for district and to get them going. And, then you start off with Weslaco to start off district play right away, the Tinaco Bowl, and then you follow that with San Benito, that big game that I personally have circled. And what I like about that game, Carlos, is that it's here in Weslaco, not over there like last year. And that's a game that they fell behind. I believe it was like 20 or 21-0 and came back, made a game out of it. And I don't know, I expect this time to be a little bit different. And then you have Los Fresnos and then Harlingen, and in the end you have South and Rivera, Brownsville, Hanna, so I think the Wildcats look really good going into the season. I think they have that experience, and as like I told JC and Roy earlier, just that success in the playoffs is going to help them just that much more. And I don't know, I mean, I feel really good about it.
Well, what everyone always looks at is how many players you have coming back.
Right.
You can have 11 players coming back, but if you didn't make the playoffs last year or you weren't successful, it really doesn't matter. So this is a team that had success, went 3 deep into the playoffs, and they have all those players returning back. Forget it, man. You're definitely going to be one of the top teams in your district. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break right now. When we come back, we'll talk to Gerald Garza, and we'll also talk to the head man, the head coach, Coach Mike Burgett. We'll be right back. Before Rene Hinojosa became a business executive, he was a student at Weslaco ISD. He participated in UIL academics, designed the original Wildcats logo, was an all-state academic middle linebacker. He then played for the Longhorns, graduating with a business degree from UT. Now he's the Director of Strategic Development at Doctors Hospital at Renaissance. Weslaco ISD is home to some of the most prestigious graduates in the Rio Grande Valley. For Rene Hinojosa, WISD was the right choice. All right, we're back here at Weslaco East, where it is the first day of 2 days has now ended. We have Gerald Garza here. We have Coach Burgett with us as well. And we bring in Gerald Garza because he's one of our players on the rise, because he was one of those players that last year he was having just a great year, had a mishap, had an injury, but he's back for his full year this year. Coach Burgett is also here. Coach Burgett, first of all, how was that practice out there? A little steamy out there, a little humid, would you say?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody in South Texas had a practice in it, so we're okay with it. We're trying to get in shape like everyone at this point. We had a great summer with the guys showing up, but, everybody's got to practice in this. And I know some teams want to practice early to get out of the heat. I don't want to. When we play at 7 or 7:30 here in September, I want to make sure that, it's going to be hot out there. Sometimes it's not going to be too much air. So, we're going to have our guys ready to go, make sure they can play 4 quarters.
Hey, Gerald, I know last year you had you got a little injured. What I want to know is when you spent your time, when you were out, Did you spend extra time in the film room, or do you see the game a little bit different maybe than before? Do you feel like you're a little bit more smarter as a football player?
Yes, now that I come out here, I feel a lot smarter because like I feel more prepared for those types of like plays, and I like the whole season I will be watching the team play, so I would learn.
You know, the offense gets a lot of talk. They get all the ink, and KWES comes and makes a big deal about the offense. But the defense is going to be solid. I've been saying that since Monday. The defense, you got to look out for them.
Right.
Do you all have a little chip on your shoulder at all when, you know, because, you know, the defense doesn't get any publicity?
Yes, sir, we do.
Well, let me know. What do you guys talk about?
Be careful, I'm sitting right here.
Coach Guzman has to get you guys pumped up, right?
Yes, sir. Well, we want to be perfect whenever we're out there on the field.
What kind of goal? Talk to me a little bit about the goals that y'all have. Are y'all always looking for a shutout? You looking to hold them, you know, under 14 points or anything like that? Do y'all have some of those team goals out there?
I know one of their goals is get the offense the ball quickly.
Absolutely. Just get off the field as quickly as possible.
Hey, Coach, yesterday when you and I were talking, I brought it to your attention that Coach Guzman says that that the front four is the strength of the defense, and then you told me by far. Wouldn't you elaborate on that a little bit? Why do you feel that way?
I don't think we've had a front four like we have this year. You know, these guys all played last year. I know Gerald played in the first 4 games. He played in our playoff games. So, yeah, he missed a little chunk right there of games. But, you know, with him as a starter coming back, one of the biggest, strongest defensive ends we've ever had, with the other quick end coming back, and then Fern, and then the 2 defensive tackles who were sophomores last year. They were sophomores, Bonda and Robert, and they're strong, very strong kids, and they all can move. So, you know, we're counting on those 4 to make to use up the 5 or 6 blockers, depending on what they're running offensively, and we're going to let our run backers run and make some plays. They know their job is, you know, you don't always hear about these guys because they're like offensive linemen. They're to use up the blocks and to make the plays that way and let the linebackers. If you look in the NFL, those are the high-paid guys. These guys are just like glorified offensive linemen, you know, taking care of the linebackers, and they do a great job. Like I said, I've been here now going on 12 years, and we haven't had a better defensive front.
And this is going to be your 5th year as the head coach. What's different now that you've been here? You're entering your 12th season. How is it a little bit different? Not only, I mean, of course, you have turf now. You got a brand new building over here to house all your equipment that you need. But how is it different for you emotionally going to this game? You're a seasoned coach now. You're not one of the young ones anymore.
You know, I just had a birthday, but I don't feel that old. Guys, you know, I work with some great head coaches, and they always told me something: be careful what you ask for. Be careful. That head title of head football coach and athletic coordinator. I know what they mean right now. There's a lot of things to keep an athletic program going. And here in Weslaco, you know, us being the second school sometimes and referred to as a second school, you know, you ask Gerald if he plays with a chip on his shoulder. Sometimes we coach with a chip on our shoulder. You know, we want the town to know that Weslaco East does exist. You know, we're here with Weslaco kids. These are WISD kids, and they give us everything they got every day. And I can't find a team out there that'll outwork us, outlift us. And they want the community to know, hey, you know, we don't wear purple. But that black storm's coming.
Absolutely.
And that black storm's going to be here this year, and we're looking forward to a great year.
Well, not only have you been one of the top teams here in Weslaco because you've gone 4 deep into the playoffs, but now you're becoming one of the top teams in the Rio Grande Valley. How do you live up to those expectations?
It's tough. I'll tell you why it's tough. You know, we go scout other teams, and they sometimes they put 150 to 220 kids on the field. We have 105. I wouldn't trade my 105 for anyone. None. They give me everything we asked them, the coaches. They work hard. These guys lift year round. They come in here on Sundays and lift.
Coach, you look like you're ready to hit someone. You look like you're ready to put on pads yourself.
Well, we got a pretty good team. I'd sit here and I'd lie if I say we don't, but, you know, we got a target on us. We never had a bigger target on us, you know, with so many guys coming back. But, you know, we're 0-0,
yes,
like
sir.
everybody in the Valley is, like everybody in Texas. And no matter what, people can say, "Hey, Coach, you ought to go 8-2, 9-1, 10-0. You ought to go 3 deep." We're 0-0. We're looking forward to playing Sharyland. You know, Sharyland's tough. They're at 5A, but they're a big 5A. Mm-hmm. They bring it. They're a good, well-coached team. Coach Adami does a great job, and we look forward to that game every year. So, you know, we're going to take one game at a time, and our goal right now, Gerald, what's our goal?
To go
Go 1-0.
Ronzo Lopez, right?
Well, that's a scrimmage.
Scrimmage, I know.
Scrimmage.
You got Lopez coming up, and
then we got
Donna
North.
Yeah.
Two good 5A ball clubs, and we're going to play a lot of our backups during those scrimmages. Gerald's going to play a little bit, but he won't play too much. We know what he can do. We want to see what that guy that's behind him can do.
Absolutely.
So if we're getting blown out on the scrimmages, you can take a scrimmage. Look at the Cowboys. They might go 5-0, but they're going to be a subpar team.
What?
Okay, Coach, let's not go there. I want to ask you real quick, Coach. This year you have your first 2 games here in Weslaco at home. How big of a plus is that for you guys, or is it a minus? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, anytime we can play in front of our crowd here in Weslaco, we love it. We got 6 out of the 10 games here. Wesco's the home game, but we still play here. Right. So we play 6 games at home. So the new turf, we've been on it yesterday, man, what a turf it was.
Yes.
Soft, man, the kids loved it, and we loved it, being a little bit heavy, and I mean just a little bit heavy. I walk on that turf and it feels good. So, I'm happy, the turf, it turned out the way it did, and I want to thank Big O. I know he put a lot of hours in
Oscar
that.
Yohas.
Yes, and Mike Salinas and myself, we did a lot of research on that, and the field felt great, and the board did a great job of getting the best there for the kids.
Gerald, do you have anything else you want to say? Because Coach Burgett is he's talking up a storm up here. You're good?
Yes,
we're going to let you guys go. Coach Mike, Coach, tell me what's going to happen tomorrow, because you have like are you going to do a little purple, little scrimmage going on, black and white scrimmage? I'm in trouble.
A little black and purple. A little black and purple. Our color is purple too. We use a lot of black and white because the other team across town, which they should be, is known for the purple. But we got purple in our color, so we don't take offense to that. We got a scrimmage tomorrow from 8 to 11. We're going to do some 7-on-7. That's right. Wesco East going to do 7-on-7 a little bit. We're going to do a little inside run haul. The fans are going to be here. They're going to be up in the stands, hopefully the parents, and see what we got. After that, we're going to take pictures, and then we got parents. We got Meet the Wildcat in the gym at 1 o'clock, and you're welcome to come. We like to see you all there. We got a little surprise for the parents.
What time is the Meet the Wildcat?
1 o'clock. It starts at 1, and we're going to go over our intro tomorrow. How we're going to enter the field this year. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to leave that as a surprise to you all. We want to thank KWES for coming out today and covering again. I know it's hot out here, and I know you guys get hot, and some of you guys don't have hair, and I know it's got to hurt a little bit, but we want to thank you guys a lot for showing up.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Gerald Garza, we'll see you on the football field tomorrow.
All right.
Good luck tomorrow with your purple-black scrimmage that'll be taking place right here at Wildcat Field on the campus of Weslaco East. Before we leave, we want to take a look at last year's play. It was Orlando. Y'all remember Orlando Fuentes? They call him Chucky. He was one of those players that could kick the football. They say he can kick it more than 50 yards for a field goal. Well, last year he hit this one 42 yards against Edinburgh Villa to win the game. An upset in the area round of the playoffs, or the bi-district round of the playoffs, to send them to the area round. And that is Orlando Fuentes. We will be catching up with him sometime, I'm sure, during the season. For Mike Gonzalez, Don Ramirez, we also have Val Zamora here, Jolial. We also have Miss Darlene
Gracia
also here. And then, of course, Julian Olivares working here tonight. And don't forget about Vinny. That's right. Vinny Berry here tonight. We'd like to thank everybody at KWES and everyone for watching this show. On Monday, we'll be in Weslaco taking a look at the Panthers. So for Mike Gonzalez, I'm Carlos Roberto. See you guys.